welcome back to another gaming news video. What does the new Lucasfilm Games title mean for the future of Star Wars games? Now, EA has had the exclusive license to Star Wars games for a couple of years now, and released things like Battlefront 1 and 2, which were not as greatly received as they could have been, but definitely the second game improved on the last. And then Respawn Games came out with Jedi Fallen Order, which was more positively received, but EA has had the license and worked with multiple different games. But Lucasfilm Games announced that they are partnering with Ubisoft to make an open world Star Wars game that is driven by story. Now, first thing I want to say is that this game that's being announced isn't coming anytime soon because the exclusive license with EA has not yet expired, but I think this announcement is saying that it's a game that they are working on and planning on, and that maybe we can see in a couple years. I am going to talk about my personal predictions for what is going to come out of this new label for Star Wars later in this video, but first I wanted to cover some of the media around the new launch of Lucasfilm's games. Up on the Star Wars website there is an article that gives great insight into what Lucasfilm Games wants to do within the Star Wars world. The article starts off by explaining that this launch of Lucasfilm's games is a new direction and a new era for Star Wars and its games. They are allowing developers from around the world to work on Star Wars games that used to exclusively be EA's license. But once that license expires, other developers can start working on Star Wars games within the context of a story that is both enjoyable and accurate to the Star Wars world. The opportunity for other developers to work on Star Wars games should be exciting for any Star Wars fan, because as different studios work on different Star Wars games, they're going to be able to bring their own styles and ideas to the table that will really just change up Star Wars games to have different feels, explore different ideas, and have a type of freshness that we may not get if the same developer continues making Star Wars games. Ubisoft have already announced their first partnership with Ubisoft and their studio Massive Entertainment in Sweden to help bring a story-driven open-world Star Wars game to life. Now, Ubisoft is known for game series such as Far Cry and Assassin's Creed, which have gotten more and more open-world RPG as time has gone on, so they are definitely an awesome choice when looking at a studio that knows what they're doing with an open-world game and how to create one that fans are going to be engaged in and enjoy. Lucasfilm's games also makes it clear that they are going to be guiding each studio as they work on these Star Wars projects to make sure that the games that are created are authentic to the Star Wars universe and fit in with the larger saga of Star Wars and the previous materials. But they want to make games that are imagined and will resonate with the fans across the entire Star Wars galaxy. And I think this is really interesting because it helps make sure that these games are not just repeats of old games or old ideas come back in the exact same way, but they're unique, new, and creative. The last thing I want to mention in this article is that they announced that this isn't the only project that they're working on. The projects will be announced through the next year and are going to be more representative of the old Lucasfilm games that we're now trying to live up to, which is really interesting because I think that shows how much they want to bring a cohesion between the old Star Wars game in this new era of Lucasfilm Games that is part of the Disney era of Star Wars. With that being said, I do want to talk about some of my predictions for these future games and what they could mean. Now, my first prediction is that not all of these titles that are gonna be announced are necessarily going to be brand new ideas and fresh off of an imagination block that has not been thought of. I do think that Legends content is going to be brought back through some of these games, and especially with the older Lucasfilm games that were around in the early 2000s. A good example of this would be the KOTOR games. They were very popular and really amazing story games that were in the Star Wars universe that were wiped out when Disney bought Star Wars and new canon was established. So I wouldn't be surprised to see games like KOTOR either be remastered or in some way be brought back into a version of canon under this new Lucasfilm Games. My second thing is there were games that were in production with Lucasfilm Games before Disney bought them, and when that merger happened, those games either got scrapped or were put aside, and some of those games were scrapped towards the end of that merger, but some of these games may also influence newer games. Like, I wouldn't be surprised to see a bounty hunter game where like the main playable character is like a bounty hunter making his way through the galaxy in maybe like the New Republic era or the Resistance era when the galaxy is kind of in the middle of conflict. Especially with the popularity of The Mandalorian on Disney Plus, which I personally love the show, and I wouldn't be surprised if they came up with a game that was in some way bounty hunter themed. With that being said, I also think that they're going to have some different themes and genres within their games that aren't going to be just Jedi Sith dynamics like it has been done so much. But I don't think that means that we're not going to see games that feature the Jedi and the Sith. And EA is also still going to produce some games like Jedi Fallen Order 2 with Respawn Entertainment. So I think there's a lot coming with the Star Wars games that's going to be new and vibrant, but also draw from influences of the past, whether it's the games that we currently have or games that the former Lucasfilm Games like published under LucasArts. But I do think there is going to be a merge and a mash with these new games, and I'm really excited to see what that entails in the next couple years. If you like this video, please leave a like, comment down below what you would want to see in a Star Wars game, and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time.